Hello, everyone. My name is Carlos, and I am deciding to start doing video newsletters. Why not? Um, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what has been happening for the past 2 months, and also talk a little bit about um, some philosophies that have been changing and how I'm going to take those forward into 2022. Even though it is in some way just another month. Another month, as I mean, like there's nothing special about the new year. It's just that you have to keep progressing. These short-term dopamine of it's the new year, it won't last forever. That will have to be the internal motivation has to be carried into 2022. This internal motivation of 2021 and transitioning to a new year. That's just the icing on the cake, or like that extra cherry on the top. But in reality, I'm more than motivated to keep going into the new year. So I don't need any of this, Happy New Year's resolutions things. But let's get started. Um, so the first thing I do want to talk to you a little bit about is the updates. So I've been reducing a lot in terms of the internship and stuff that I want to do. I do want to continue exploring, and that's something that I made the mistake of. Um, in the past, in the summer when I did an internship with the climate crew, I'm not saying I hate it. I love that internship, especially taught me a little bit about um, to form my opinion on topic that is kind of heavily debated, and also um, it's thrown a lot of information, especially on the news and media, which is climate change. Um, but it also made me a lot more, I guess, optimistic, because there are some things that haven't been thrown about, specifically the data. Where they say climate change is going to kill us all, it's not teenagers. Like, yes, we understand that, yes, it's rising sea levels and stuff, but there are other things that are way more dangerous, like a collapse of a societal value, or maybe a super volcano, or maybe a cosmic ray. I think those we probably haven't even considered the idea of, but we're not going to wait until it happens. Like, until when the COVID-19 pandemic happened, like we didn't really roll out like mRNA vaccines like Pfizer in like under 7 months. That helped us a lot until an actual incident like that happened. So there's also another thing that kind of made me realize that maybe going to these things and just like falling in love with something is probably just not the best thing to do, at least at the moment. So I do want to continue exploring, and in terms of exploring, I'm beginning to realize that, okay, I do have a genuine interest in terms of the human body in general. It's a very powerful thing, especially with the physical combat, the mental constraints that we have, especially with mental health and such. But then also like the social values, like having fun with family, friends, and I guess even acquaintances in general. That's something very interesting. But specifically, I like about the nutrition and health side of it. So I've been looking into the vitamin and micronutrient deficiencies, and I'm currently now, after 2 months of just diving into it and having fun. I do want to focus on this for as I continue into 2022 on reducing micronutrient deficiencies, potentially on vitamin D or vitamin E for Mexico. It's my home country, so I got to. Yeah, there's a lot more of, I guess, drive for there. So we're gonna start there, and I do have a little bit of research coming out on there, specifically what's the best way in terms of methods targeted, and then other things that looking at other methods of how people have implemented uh, a way to reduce micronutrient deficiency, and that's called biofortification. Biofortification, in a sense, is basically think of it as like a vitamin pill, and then just throwing it inside whatever it's in the fruit or the crop or whatever. So you could biofortify beans with a lot more iron, and come up with a different version of the bean, or the bean with iron. That's what it is. So biofortification. So you can think of it as like a steroid for a crop of a specific vitamin. And there are many ways of implementing this, and I think the best step for anyone in general who's looking at this is, when you have a problem that you need to solve, find people who have already solved it. I cannot say more than enough about that. I think that's the best way to get yourself started, is find those people who are currently looking into the problem, have solved it, or also on the same boat as you, you will definitely grow out of there, get ideas, and I think in those like little side little conversations, that's where the best stuff is. It's like in the comment section or like a thread. That's where the good stuff is. You're never really gonna find most of it in terms of in just a single post. You will have to uh, do a deep dive into it. So that's where I stand right now in terms of micronutrient deficiency. I will be rolling out content in a week because I do want to spend some time with family and friends for this holiday. So I'll be updating you that. I'll reopen that Medium page. And the next thing is languages in general. So um, for those who have followed me for a good while now, I don't know how, but now I love languages in general. Like it's the best way of communicating. And I think the philosophy I have is the amount of languages you know is the amount of purposes you serve to someone. So I was talking when I got injured in the game a month ago. I was talking to one of my teammates' moms, and turns out she was Brazilian. And at that time, I had learned enough Portuguese to make a conversation with her. But before that, we just really kind of said hi. But after that, we were talking for like 30 minutes for the time, and it was like very interesting. Talked a little bit um, about childhood and then like other philosophies of parenting. But I think like that's also another thing. Is like until then, I just kind of served as another person on the team. But now it's like, oh wow, what's that? And so so I've reached semi-fluency in Portuguese, and now I'm acquiring Greek. Um, and I'm gonna try and continue going on that. So going into 2022, up till like April or May, I'll keep going to with Greek, and then I'll still be learning it, obviously, but but then I'm going to try and throw in some Catalan in there. Catalan sounds like if French and Spanish had a child, or something like that. And then a language that I think that will serve for the rest of my life, which is Arabic, as I have converted to Islam a little bit back. I think this is definitely a very important thing, and to learn to learn Arabic via the people, and also to learn Al-Tala via the people. I think it's better if you bring in connections in there rather than just trying to learn the religion itself. I could be wrong. So for any Muslims who are looking in there, um, I would definitely ask for your help. Maybe later in 2022. But I also want to put this bet on myself that at the end of 2022, I will communicate in 6 languages, and those those are Spanish, English, Portuguese, Greek, Catalan, and Arabic. So that will be that. And then I think those are like for right now where I want to go. I think that the less things, and also like and then another thing would just be focusing on those college apps, and then like wrapping up with this driving stuff, because I've been procrastinating on that for such a long time. So I gotta finish that up. It would be definitely good to get a bit more independent. Um, but I think those are like just the three main things. I think the less things you focus on, the better chance of success, and I do want that. But I also want to be able to be free and explore a lot more. So I'll be definitely reducing the amount of internships. I do not want to commit to so many things, especially when like you should be exploring it during these years. You should not be wasting your childhood on such things. I think that if you know you're prepared for it, go ahead, but you shouldn't just go into there just because you're surrounding yourself with it. I think that's also something that should be a little bit careful. Um, but in terms of philosophies, I do think that trying for 2022, I suggest anyone just to become an intelligent, lazy person. I think that that would be a good thing. And why intelligent but lazy person? I think that in some way, if you want to get out the best of the results, I think in some way, you don't have to, yeah, to be an intelligent, lazy person in some way. What would be the ideal from there is you can figure out the fastest way to get to the solution, but also being able to get the fastest and the most efficient way to get to the solution with having and still have your time to do whatever. That's also another reason why I bring up if you have a problem and you're trying to solve it, find someone who has already solved it. It's way easier to just figure out, okay, what did they do? And maybe try and replicate that. And maybe if it works for you, maybe if it doesn't, we'll find another person. one person ain't gonna cut it. You need 10 or 15 people at least. But then again, you shouldn't be asking everyone. You shouldn't be posting it on a Twitter, on a tweet like, hey yo, like what, how do you do this? Because like you're literally asking everyone, and when you ask for everyone, you already did the wrong thing. You should only be asking like 10, 15 people. There are specific people for a specific question. That's also something that you got to be a little bit careful about. But yeah, I would. So that's also another thing with like these newsletters is also like, yes, I know it's probably not the best newsletter you have ever seen. However, it's the main point is to get out information and the updates of what I'm doing. So like, if bright lights or fancy animation, like, is that going to really help the viewer like get the message across? Like maybe, but I think no. Like my words, as long as you can understand in English, that is good enough. So that's also another thing is in terms of what features. It reminds me of this Google developer who made something that who made this app where it gets pictures from your phone to your wall. He didn't add features like cropping or like or viewing the photo before you send it to the printer. It's like the point is to get the photos from the phone to the wall. Those features like those don't really help get your photos from the phone to the wall. That's the point. So it's the same thing. I think that's the most thing is be intelligent, be a lazy, intelligent person. That way you can get the results one as fast as possible, efficiently as possible, and also the highest and also with saving a lot more time for me to explore. And I think that's also the philosophy I want to take over is acquire. My bad. I didn't know the word, but it's acquire to be an intelligent, lazy person. Um, so that would be that. And I hope this was a good newsletter. Actually, it is. It is a good newsletter. But I think for those, and just to finish it off, I'm going to speak in the Portuguese and Greek because definitely there's going to be a lot of people who are wondering, is he just like flying or whatever? So let's go. Então, isto foi meu vídeo, isto foi minhas informações de todo o ano de 2021. Então, eu acho que no futuro eu vou fazer outros vídeos falando em outras línguas, por exemplo, o português, o espanhol, o grego e também o inglês, porque o inglês é a língua oficial de todo mundo, é a língua universal. Então, mas também posso fazer bate-papos com outras pessoas do Brasil, porque também eu quero entender a cultura do Brasil também de outros países africanos, também como Angola, Moçambique, também Portugal. Isso aí, gente. Isso aí, gente. Espero que isso foi uma boa surpresa, para vocês. Now Greek, sorry Greeks, I don't know that much, but ευχαριστώ πολύ που βλέπουν τον βίντεο μου, αλλά ναι, χρειάζομαι πιο λέξεις στα ελληνικά. Μέχρι τότε, γεια χαρά. Thank you so much.